So in this video, I'm going to talk about the IT mindset, and I found this topic to be very crucial to anyone who's working in IT, but it's often undiscussed because it's less popular in a lot of certification tracks, and a lot of people just assume that you have those skills or you'll pick them up by experience. But I think that the sooner you get into the mindset of IT and the mindset of things here, the better you'll be in terms of overall performance, and the better you'll be in your IT journey to become an IT professional. So I'm gonna start touching them. They're not sorted by priority or what is more important. I think they're all important in their own right. And also, this is standards that you should strive for. There's no one perfect. Maybe you'll do some of them better, some of them less, but you need to do them in order for you to become a true IT professional, at least to some degree. The first thing is to learn how to learn. IT is all about obtaining new information, learning, and improving your skill set over time. You need to build a structure, an approach to learning that works for you. I gave the example of the weekend approach where I'm going to study X amount of hours per week, and if I don't reach the quota, I'm going to study them in the weekend. There's all kinds of technique, tricks, and such. You need to build a process that works for you reliably. We're talking about long term here. You can't have something that works for a month and then stops. You need to build a process and you need to improve on the process where you're learning. You find that you're learning faster via videos, use videos. You learn faster by reading a book, read a book. You're someone who needs the on the job practice. Go for it. Do labs, perform the activities, and try and error and improve the knowledge via videos after. It doesn't matter which route you're taking or if you're taking all of them together. Just build something that works for you. It's very important. Invest the time to build the process because you're going to use this process over and over for years. The second thing I want to touch about is how to approach IT issues in general. And this is something that I'm going to cover in a much more detail with use cases in a separate video series that I'm working on right now. But in order for you to actually solve IT issues, you need to start by building a structured approach to issues or to problems or challenges in the IT field. For starters, collect the information, see if you can replicate the problem in the lab environment or how to repeat the problem if it's something that occurs over time or some of the times. After you collect the information, try to build around it. Try to understand if this is a critical server, maybe you need to back it up before you start touching it. Save the process state. Do all kinds of things in order for you to have a way to even interact with the system and troubleshoot it. When you're starting to troubleshoot it, don't shoot from the hip. Start with the basics, connectivity, services, status, event log. Understand what's going on. Start with the general things. Try to break down the issue to smaller issues. Sometimes a lot of IT issues comes down to the composition of 3 or 4 or 5 minor things that have composited to a single big problem that causes a downtime or an issue. Try to build one by one the solution. And fix the small things, fix the bigger things, and fix the larger things. I know this is kind of a talk in a vacuum, and this is something that's not really practical, but the idea is that you need to build a structure for how you approach IT issues. I'm going to have a separate series dedicated for that topic. I promise you it'll be much more in detail. The next point is to try again fresh, and I have to say that this is often not a possibility if you're fixing a problem in production. But a lot of times, if you'll take a step back and you'll try again from the start, you'll figure out that you missed a step, or you didn't do one of the checks, or you didn't do anything at the beginning and you missed something, and you're starting in the wrong direction because you didn't do those steps at the beginning. To try again fresh means to reset what you've already thought you know about the situation and obtain it from the beginning and clean slate it. This helps a lot of times to find steps that you're missing. And the way you do it, if you're not able to do it mentally yourself or you're too invested in the problem, try to get a fresh pair of eyes, someone else to take a look. What is the situation from a new perspective? They will ask you questions to get the bearing and understanding, and by answering their questions, often you'll find some of the things that you might have missed. So trying to get French, which when possible, is a great way to improve the mindset and also learn how to take a step back, look at the big picture, and solve the issue. The next point is to restart first approach, and I'm going to talk against it. And at least at first until you're very confident in what you're doing. And I want to touch why. A lot of times, if you've called your internet provider or you've seen any kind of TV series that laugh on IT or computer in general, the resident IT expert will tell you, have you tried to restart it, or did you restart it and then it works? There is a reason why a restart solves a lot of problems. It does a lot of things behind the scene when you restart a device. It cleans the cache, it restarts the processes, it rebuilds the logical steps that the device is taking when it reboots. It performs all kinds of activity, and it also affects the network sometimes, like clearing the cache, changing the routes, doing a lot of things. You can't really take into consideration that a restart is just reopening the application. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. When there is a problem and you restart first, before you even try to troubleshoot it and the problem is resolved, you learn nothing. You don't understand what is the problem. You don't understand what part of the restart solved the problem. And all you've done is put a band-aid on the solution, because if the problem will appear again and you restart first, you don't have any knowledge when you try the next time or you encounter the problem the next time. Try to always have this question: why did I restart the machine? What did I aim to solve by restarting? And if the answer is, I don't know, black magic, don't restart the machine. At least gather some information first. Try to understand what's going on. Try to see if there's any errors or anything that you can see before you restart it. Because once you restart it, a lot of things will be different. A lot of things will change when it's rebooted. And then you will have knowledge that you would have obtained if you troubleshoot it first. So I would refrain, don't restart first, or don't use the restart first approach until at least 5 years in your career, when you know reliably that this is something that will be solved by a restart because it clears the cache. And those are things that you might take into consideration when you're talking about production servers that have no downtime. But I will throw this out there, and there was a lot of times when I found myself in this situation. Someone thought restarting will solve the problem faster. The machine or the device was restarted, and it didn't come back up. And this is because before it was restarted, there was a lot of errors in the operating system or the hardware level, and it was barely living before it was restarted. And once you restarted it, you killed it. So restart first approach can cause a lot of issues. Don't do it lightly. Wait for a few years before you start doing this approach on a regular basis to solve issues. The next point is certification focus, and I did talk about this point. Try not to be completely focused in the certification routes. Vendors build the certification routes to serve their needs. Microsoft does it to promote Microsoft agenda. Cisco, the same, Cisco agenda. Sometimes you're missing good knowledge that the vendor does not support, either because they don't have this infrastructure or technology, or they don't want to teach you something because it works bad in their infrastructure, and in another vendor it works fantastic. So do have an open mind to understand beyond certification. Understand topics. Understand, for example, TCP/IP networking, not Cisco TCP/IP networking, which is completely similar, but there are some differences that Cisco will push you to that is not generally the global information that exists today. And I'm not giving a great point by saying TCP/IP, because this is a very, very close topic in all vendors. But if you're starting to go to routes like security, people view security differently from multiple perspectives, and each one of them will tell you what is more important and how their solution is better for it. This is something that you need to challenge by expanding your knowledge, not being certificate focused and having one certificate route in mind. The last point I want to discuss in this IT mindset video is the I don't know approach. And this is something that you need to throw out of the window. You need to understand that you're not going to know everything in IT from the start and in the finish. Even an expert with hundreds of years, hundreds maybe not, but tens of years of experience will not have complete knowledge about the IT landscape. And even more, the IT landscape is always shifting, always moving. So if today I'm the greatest expert in the world in a specific topic, in 2 years there might be 5 new topics that are more important that I have no knowledge on. And it's very important for you to cultivate an approach of being aware of your knowledge, and also throw the I don't know approach out of the window. You don't know something, learn it. You don't know how to learn it, look for people who practice it. Try to obtain the information. You don't know what you're doing, try to do the things that you do know. For example, collect information, read the logs, check the application user interface, try to scroll through it, watch tutorials, There's a lot of things you need to do before you say, I don't know. And the I don't know will keep you at the back of your trade. Always go with the approach of trying to figure it out. If you don't have the information, learn it and then try again. If you have the information but you're missing practical experience, try to look at it, try to troubleshoot it, try. Don't go with the I don't know and rid yourself from the challenge. A challenge is an everyday journey in IT. I will tell you that I've been facing challenges from my first day in IT, and it's been about 15 years now, and I'm still facing challenges. Some of them are bigger than others, some of them are challenges that take me sometimes days to resolve. But there's always challenges, and you need to not be afraid of them and face them. And this is something that you need to cultivate as a mindset. So I hope you took the core essence of what I gave in this video, and you'll take at least some of those concepts into consideration and work on your mindset and improve it over time. It's something that takes a few years to build, but after you have the proper mindset in IT, you'll be the type of person that people will approach to in the workplace. Hey, I have a problem with XYZ. Can you help me? And this is a great place to be, both in your career and also in terms of feeling good about what you're doing and why you're doing it. You will become the cornerstone of your office or your workplace. People will come to you for the answers. And this is something that will be basically the best thing in IT is to have the answer at the right time. That's the greatest experience. I want you to have it as someone who's practiced in IT or at least striving for it.